taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Augmented Reality podcast for June 23rd, 2018. Coming up to July already. Pretty quick. Wow. Where does the year go? My name is Asheninity, and I'm powered by Pure Hype as always, and I'm here as always with Cybsidian. How are you this morning, sir?
Good morning. It's still hot here. My cooling system is not has been under performing in this heat. I need to get an upgrade. So if anybody knows a good cybernetic surgeon, let me know.
Anybody know a guy? Yeah. If you're listening live this morning, make sure to say hello in the live chat. Send us your questions and comments there as well. We'll read and respond to as many of them as we can throughout the podcast. And so today we have got just a couple of general news updates and things to discuss. We've got some stuff around Cyberpunk 2077 and some things around Fallout 76. There's been a lot of information coming out this week, a lot of questions being answered and answers being questioned. I know Cyb's got a few questions.
I always have tons of questions.
So we're going to dive into that. So good morning to everybody watching. So let's good morning, Megan. Welcome again, and everybody else. All right, so let's dive into this Fallout 76 stuff. So there's been a lot of questions flying around ever since we first saw the trailers for it and all the info that came out at E3, and there's the Todd Howard and Pete Hines, two of the main guys at Bethesda, have been giving a lot of interviews, answering a lot of questions, but there's still a lot of questions that people have, and I like I said, I know Cyb has some questions about it, so let's just dive into that. So Fallout 76, of course, is going to be an online Fallout game, and there's a lot of questions around how is the PvP going to work, what are they doing to prevent griefing, are they doing anything to prevent griefing? There are nukes on the map. Does that mean that someone can just get a nuke code and destroy everything you've built? Because there's a big building mechanic in the game. You build settlements, etc. So let's dive into that, Cyb. So what are some of the main questions that people are asking?
Well, some of the main questions, and let's back this up a little bit. The problem that Bethesda has had with communicating what exactly is going on and how this is, quote unquote new experience is going to work, is that they haven't exactly answered these questions because they don't actually have the answers to these questions at the moment. And this is why Pete Hines and Todd have mentioned this beta and how the beta is going to affect stuff. So they've got two betas. They got one going on right now, which is an in-house beta, and then they're going to have the player-powered beta is going to be happening sometime soon. And again, a reminder, if you want access to the beta, the only way to get access to the beta is to pre-order. You cannot get access through any of these other sites, especially sites that are asking you for, all your personal information and your most recent passwords.
Or to download anything.
And the fact that, or to download anything, and the fact that people fall for this is shocking to me. It's like, hey, I'm a Nigerian prince. I'm from royalty, and I need to move a bunch of money into somebody else's bank account. Ignoring the fact that I can't spell Nigeria nor royalty correctly, but the same guy, the same thing. Hey, I have a password to a video game you might want to buy. All I need is all of your private information. Oh, and I need you to download this really suspicious program that gives you tons of red flags on your computer saying, warning, 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 this is spam, this is a Trojan, do not install this. Just hit that ignore button and install it anyways. It's
like those things that used to go around by email or Facebook, like you need to share this story with 20 people or some ghost is going to kill you.
Yeah.
At the back of people's minds, they wonder, what if it's true? Or the famous Bill Gates is gonna give $1 million to each person who shares this post or something. Like these things, I used to see these shared by the most surprising people, like people that
I have a great aunt who falls for literally everything, and I worry about her so much. I send her like, "Hey, this thing that you just spread to everybody. This is a phishing email. You really should not answer these people at all." Oh, but the person sounded so nice when I talked to them. Like, oh my goodness, you didn't give them any bank information, did you? Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
The fact that is that Todd does not have a lot of these answers because a lot of these factors are moving. For one, the reason why they haven't given us a population number, and Ash and I were just talking about this earlier, is that they don't know what that number is going to be. They're saying and suggesting that it's going to be, several dozen, or a few dozen, or 2 dozen.
Mm-hmm.
These are numbers that have been thrown around a lot, but have they agreed to a single number? No, they have not. Why have they not? Because in order to test how 5 million people logging onto your server system is going to tax and how much it's going to cost you, you need to figure out at first kind of like, what's your expected load like going to be. And for that, they need more than the maybe 400, maybe 500 people that they can get into a single in-house beta right now. And that's saying something. 500 is definitely an overestimate. Now, if they have this on a private network and they're getting people to, friends and family, then they might be able to boost that up to, 2,000-3,000 maybe. Maybe if they're really, really lucky, they might have like 5,000 people. But as soon as you start hitting those numbers, people are going to start leaking screenshots of this like every day. So they haven't had that yet. We know that pretty much for a guarantee. Pete was just caught a few days ago saying that they're starting up their big in-house beta right away. So that means that it's not underway at the time that he said it, and it was sometime. It was in one of the many interviews he's given in the last week. So what that means is that they don't know these numbers, and when they keep asking about how the PvP is going to work, how the PvE is going to work, they keep saying, well, it's going to be good, but we don't have specifics yet, because they can't. Because without running a beta, they can't promise you anything, because they might get online and experience that if they're offering the world the size that it is at the horsepower of the engine, or the servers that they're offering it on, for the amount of people that are logging into them, that they might not be able to do 24 people per server at all. Like, it might be like a massive loss in money. They might be losing a lot of money really quickly. So what do they have to do? Well, if they double that, then they cut the financial costs of those servers in half if they just double the number. So now you're at 48 people per server. But even if that's still too much, then they got to boost that, maybe push it up to 55, maybe put it to 60. If the world's as big as they're saying, then maybe they could get away with maybe 100 people on the server. And that might be where they sit. But then again, at the same logic, they might find that they can run it at 12 people per server. So, that becomes easier.
Right. So
that also makes yeah.
Bottom line there's a lot of questions unanswered.
Yes, because they don't have the information available to answer those questions.
Right. Okay. Now, you had some significant questions about how the PvP is going to work, and how you had some questions about some of the answers they've given this week about the PvP. And let me actually just read a quote from Pete Hines here. We had a question. TC Braga is asking how the PvE is going to work. Sorry, I misread your comment earlier. So as for the PvP, Pete Hines said this earlier. This is quoted in an article on Variety. Pete said, "It is important to note that this is not just a full-on PvP game, where you get in the world and everyone shoots everything. It's more like a challenge to another player. So there's going to be some controls in place," but you had some questions about this.
Yeah, so and we will get to the people are asking in chat. We will get to the Cyberpunk stuff as soon as we cover the Fallout stuff. So as far as that goes, I'm immediately concerned with them, with the way that they've been talking about PvP. They're saying, look, we can't, we're not going to let you be griefed by the same player over and over and over again. Okay, that's great. But that is not my experience with griefing. My experience with griefing is not one person. There's a handful of times where it's camped by like somebody who is way over leveled and overpowered to me, and typically if that was like, a big issue, I'd either just move servers or re-roll a different character on a different area so that I could play without that one person, who's going out of their way to just grief me over and over again. I very rarely had that problem. Where I've had the most griefing problems is not in games where it's like, the population is pretty balanced as far as like, faction and or reasonable people. What I've had a problem with is logging into a server and having, 150, even 20 people that are camping the spawn zone where you log in, and each one of them are basically taking turns, or they're all dogpiling you at once, and as soon as you res, you get dogpiled again, and as soon as you res, you get dogpiled again, and as soon as you res, you get dogpiled again. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. That is the serious problem that I'm seeing here. Because, yeah, sure, one person kills me, and then they can't kill me again, as far as what I'm hearing. What happens when there's, say, 40 people on the server? Hell, make it 30. Make it 30. What happens when there's 30 other people on the server, and every time I log in or every time I res, one of them kills me?
Well,
and they
take
their turn.
Here's where I'm a little confused, is because he said it's like issuing a challenge to another player, but you were saying earlier to me before we started the podcast that you can actually just go up and attack somebody if you haven't attacked them before.
From what we've seen and from what we've been told, it's the dueling system only comes into effect after you've been killed once by that one player. And this has been stated again and again and again. That one player you have to activate a chance to duel them again. But they've made no statement that, and really it would be quite it wouldn't be quite reasonable to assume that if there's only a dueling system in the game, then there is no real world or open world or what some people refer to as world PvP. Then there is none. Period. There's none. It's just a dueling system. Yes, I know, Megan. This system doesn't make any sense. We're being told that there's a dueling system for when somebody kills you. You have to challenge them to a duel because if you think that you might be able to take them on again. Or they're not allowed to attack you again. But he's made no mention that that person can't attack you from the get-go immediately upon seeing you the first time. And that's what I'm getting at. There's been no confirmation that PvP has been blocked to somebody that you are PvPing with the first time, the very first time you encounter. You log into a server for the first time, opening day, you're surrounded by you've all gotten out of the vault. This is the first 10 minutes of play. You've all gotten out of the vault, and there's 30 people within your near vicinity. What prevents all of those 30 people from killing themselves and you over and over and over again, to the point where every time you exit, you have to kill somebody else or be killed by somebody else? And this happens until all 30 people in this scenario have killed each other and have been killed by each other 30 times.
Well, is that here's where I'm confused, because you said it's not been confirmed that won't be the case, but do we have evidence that will be the case? Like,
have you never played an online game?
No. Not that people won't, but that they'll be allowed to just up and attack you. Like, this is
yes. We saw in the video, their very first video, what happened.
Yeah.
Two guys ran into each other and started shooting at each other immediately, and then one guy, the player that they were following, executed the other person.
But do we know that
did we see any, hey, this person would like to challenge you? No. And I know what you're going to ask is, well, that's not proof that that's not in there.
Did that happen off screen or off
no,
are they
because then if it didn't, the stealth mechanics or being a sniper or being anything other than a close range fighter is going to, if you're going for a sniper build because you're a sniper and you see somebody, like, you're going to challenge them to, and you're standing, imagine receiving that challenge. You're standing in an open field, very little cover. You don't see anybody near you at all. Suddenly you get a ba-ding, so-and-so would like to duel you. Chances are they've got you in either, if there is a stealth mechanic in the game, either they've got you surrounded by landmines and, have a fat man trained on you, or they have you in their scopes with a sniper rifle. And the minute that you hit accept, you're going to get shot.
Right. No,
so that's what I'm saying.
That doesn't make sense.
That combat system does not work, period. We've seen games try this, and the reason why you can't think of a game that's tried this and has been successful is because this has never been successfully tried, ever, period.
But
so
what if it's more of a server-wide, like, hey, let's all challenge each other kind of a thing?
No, that doesn't work either.
Like PvE versus different permissions on different servers is what I'm saying.
That really doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. That means that we'd have a list of servers to choose from, which they've already said we don't have a list of servers to choose from. You don't have a server list. You just click play and you are put into a server.
Okay, but what if it's
the
player says, "Hey, maybe they have a setting that says I am open to anybody attacking me," and then that means, or yeah, I guess no. I see what you mean. I see where there's problems and there's a lot of confusion. I feel like we have some information missing. We're
missing, and this is the whole point, is that we're missing a ton of information on this. They've routinely said, we're going to bring you a great experience. We're Bethesda, we're going to bring you a great experience. And I'm hoping that this is correct. And I have I'm not dissing this game. I'm saying that what they're saying, the scenario that they're setting up for us, has not answered a lot of these questions. And from a game designer, point of view, this kind of stuff that they're saying is going to work almost never works. And so I'm afraid that they're falling into this Peter Molyneux kind of concept where they're promising us this one experience. Oh, it'll be great. It'll work like this. It'll do this. It'll do that. And it just works. Todd Howard's favorite line. It just works. In this case, I don't think it's going to just work. I think that as a player logging into a world, you might have a bad experience every once in a while where you log into a world and you're surrounded by like 4 groups of people who are all on the same server, which I already know how they can do this because this is what we used to do in the Division. Saying in the Division, it's like there's limited people per the Dark Zone. There's ways that you can't have 40 people gang up on one person in the Dark Zone. Remember, we were able to do that almost day one because of party swapping and party building. And you could build up to the point where you have 3 or 4 teams all working together, moving in an area, taking out everybody. And
right.
So again, you're going to encounter this. If we could do it in that game, I don't see what is preventing us from doing it here. This happened in Ark. This happened in dozens and dozens of other games where they promise small communities where community interaction is important and it works, and you log in and suddenly you're lined up on a firing squad by 50 people. And you're like, I thought this wasn't supposed to be able to work this way. And they're like, they smack you and they're like, take your lumps. And then once you take their lumps over and over and over and over again, then you're maybe allowed to mess around. But then you have to give them stuff. And I mean, this is stereotypical playground, concepts that have been around since kids started playing in playgrounds. This is just the environment in which happens. And all I'm saying is I don't think they've prepared for this. And I don't think that they're thinking about this because they keep saying, oh no, well, it's just one challenge. It's like, okay, one challenge. What happens when you're, when you log into an area where there's a clan that owns that? Well, then you have to log out and you have to wait a few seconds. Then you have to log back in. Okay, that's great. Now you don't have to worry about that. It only inconvenienced you for a little bit. Sure, great, awesome. But then you log in and you find this again. and you log in and you find this again, and you log in and find this again. That if the community is toxic in general, then this is going to come back and hurt them horrendously. Now, if the community is great and there's lots of role players and that kind of stuff, then that's fine. But again, I played a lot of these games, and I really don't think that this is. I really don't think that they're gonna do this. I'm taking all of your questions on CDPR and Cyberpunk, and we will get to them here as soon as we're done this. So
right. Well,
the
the good news is that when you we've been told that you don't necessarily respawn back in the place where you died unless you want to. So that's one good news. So you can be away from, if somebody is griefing you or there's a huge group of people griefing you, you can spawn away from them. And also,
again,
you don't lose progress.
Again, hold up. Again, this is something that having been on MMOs for a really long time, having been a part of massive guilds, this is entirely, like, this does not encourage me. This does not make me sleep easy with the experience, because you know what we used to do? We used to have, when we were seriously griefing like one person, we'd have the griefing squad, and then we'd have the camp squads. So you'd have the griefing squad where you're set up and you're set up hunting down the person that you're griefing or the group of people that you're griefing. Then you have another group that's camping the graveyard. So if they accept a res back at, you know, the start, quote unquote, then they're griefed there as well. And the point is that your hunting squad goes around, gathers up all of the people in the one area, kills them all. They all get forced to res at the point of the beginning or the graveyard or whatever, or in this case the entrance of the vault. And now they're coming out there thinking, well, I've dealt with those people now, and they immediately pull out 2 shotgun to the face. And then they say, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to go over to another graveyard and res at that other graveyard. So they go over to that other graveyard. They res at that other graveyard. They res up. Guess who's there? Shotgun to the face. This is stuff that we have done, that gamers have created intricate, extreme ways to brutally and totally melt people's faces every single minute of every single day. It's not that hard. So, yeah.
It's the joys of PvP.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just talk about the nukes quickly, and then we can move on and take a couple of questions here, and then we'll move on to the Cyberpunk stuff. Actually, let's go with this question from TC Braga. He's asking, how is the PvE going to work?
So the PvE, I think they've had this. I think this is where they've really hit on gold, and this is why, again, it's like I really wish that they'd offer some either single servers or joint servers. Because this is what everybody's been asking for the longest time in Fallout, in Skyrim, is just give me the ability to play with my friends.
Right. We
just wanted to do the PvE, and this is where they have exceptionally worked out. I think exceptionally been great at this concept. Is they're going to have these big events, they're going to have these ghouls, they're going to have these camps, they're going to have these bases, and just like the regular Fallout game, you go in, you clear it out. But now they've also got these, they've got these special monsters and these special bosses, and then they've got in this one instance, I'm really excited to see what this is going to end up like. They're going to have these flying bat beasts that come up out of the ground and attack and destroy settlements and stuff like that. So that's going to be really cool too, because it's going to be these big hard fights where it's like no mods, early game, no cheats, no loading, and you have to take out a giant Deathclaw. It's like, okay,
cool.
Good. Here's your chance. Can you do this? In the early part of the game, trying to take out a Deathclaw, you've got 2 stim packs, a bunch of food, and you've got 2 pistols of different calibers. Not very much ammo for either of them, and you've got 6 shots on your shotgun, and you've got no ammo for a laser weapon that you have. And you're in this town, and this Deathclaw is stalking you. That's the experience that most of us are wanting, and it appears that this is the experience that we're going to get. So this is really cool, and I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this. This is really great. This is what I want in a Fallout experience with my friends. This is the experience that I want to bring people into. So I think the PvE is great, and I think eventually, if the PvP is just insane, that they will decide on putting out PvP and PvE servers and letting people just group together and have fun, group together or do whatever. The other thing that I'm really missing in the PvE, and I think this is a huge mistake, is there are no survivors, there are no NPCs, there are no friendly NPCs. There's apparently some bots that will talk to you, but there's no human players in the game. When you build an outpost, when you build a city, when you go and you build a massive settlement, the only people at that settlement is you and your other friends that log in, period. There's nobody else. So what's the point in building a gigantic castle if the only people that can ever fill that gigantic castle is you and your friends? This is a YouTuber made this one video recently where it's like, this is what's going to happen when you have a settlement without any people, without any quest givers, without any NPCs to talk to, without any interesting concepts. Is, hey, look at what I did, look at what I built. Oh, that's cool. All right, well, let's get back to building, or let's go back to exploring, because there's nothing there for that. So yeah, it's I don't, it's not a normal Fallout game for sure. Lawrence is in the chat. You're 100% correct. It's not a normal one. It's maybe going to be a bit of a boring grind, maybe. I would have wanted, I want New Vegas with co-op. That's what I want, and I wanted this to be New Vegas with co-op. Now, I think if the community wants to get their hands on this, and if they are really bored really quickly, and we're saying we're missing NPCs, we're missing, like, give us the chance to rescue people, to set people up, to set these survivors up, and to help build new cities. I think if they got that, and I think if we got a little bit more like permanent bases and stuff like that, I think it would work a lot better. Like if we could get some permanent servers and that kind of stuff. So you, instead of logging onto a new server every day where everything's reset every day, where everybody's buildings are, packaged up and vanish the minute the person leaves the server, or, all of that, I honestly think that if you just give us the ability to put down roots, so-called roots, and experience a small community with people that we know, and then also have like NPCs in the world that we can talk to, get quests from, build cities, build towns, I think this is a lot better.
So
Yeah, missing a living, breathing world. 100%, because the only thing that's living and breathing there right now are things that are either going to kill you or are going to be killed by you, and that's it. And that's not a good. That's not when I originally started hearing the rumors. We heard the rumors that we're gonna meet, the master. Before he became the master, we're gonna meet Harold. We're gonna meet these other NPCs from California. We might even meet, some other vault people from other vaults, and hear how their vaults weren't control vaults, and hear how, after 3 days, some crazy mutated creature was let into the building, and in other places how these other horrible experiments. Right now it feels like we're not going to get this. Now, I haven't seen it, we haven't played it, but right now we're feeling that we're not going to get this living, breathing world that we're used to getting in Skyrim games. Or Bethesda games like Skyrim. And in Skyrim, if there was no talking with people, there was only just like, go around and kill everything, that would not be a fun game to me at all. That would have killed it. I spend entire play sessions in towns just talking to people, and and especially with these mods, where there's a ton of mods out there that add, like, new and interesting NPCs and that, all that kind of stuff, and going out and talking with somebody and helping them with a problem, or there's no killing involved. My weapons have been sheathed this whole time, and I'm just trying to convince two people to stop fighting, or you left the toilet seat up one too many times. Stopping that kind of stuff is a lot more interesting and gives that feeling of a living, breathing world. Whereas Like, hey, go out and pick any one of the 99 bases to fight people at, gather stuff, come back and build a town to which maybe your friends and maybe a handful of other random people will ever see. And that one time that you log in and you're like, hey, look at that gigantic phallic object in the distance. Wow, isn't that incredibly detailed? I've never seen that in a build your own base game ever before, ever.
And is that just to touch on something that you said earlier? Is that stuff going to disappear when you log out? Like things
Well,
you built?
that's the thing I'm not certain about, because it's like they're saying that, you know, oh, your base will go down, but you can also package up your base in 2 seconds. You just go to your portable base thing, hit a button, and your entire base is teleported inside this tiny little thing. And you pick up that tiny little thing and you move it to a new spot, and you can instantly throw down and recreate your entire base instantly.
Hey, that's totally possible. I've seen it in Fortnite all the time. Yeah. All right. There's a lot we don't know, but at the same time, it sounds like this could be a lot of fun, and we have been looking for a co-op, play with your friends type follow game for some time. So,
yeah,
I guess.
But again, it's like and Lawrence has made this thing. He said that he's feeling sad because this is not sounding like a Fallout game. You're correct to be a little bit pensive, and we should be a little bit pensive, because we don't want to. Here's two reactions that you don't want to do. You don't want to go, it's great, guys, it's going to be awesome, this is going to be the best game ever, and then when you get there, you're going to be let down so badly. Whereas if you approach it with some caution, going, well, I don't know, this might just turn out to be terrible, but I'm gonna approach it, and maybe I'm just gonna try and have fun my first day.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I'm in wait and see mode. I'm in.
Yeah. Wait and see is always
gonna
the
play it
approach.
with friends.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be good.
But at the same time, it's like, take the time to let Bethesda know, join their forums, and whenever people put up polls and straw things like that, whenever somebody says, the first day, if the world is not living, breathing, it seems very dry, there's no NPCs to talk to, and you feel like the world just doesn't have anything to offer you to make you want to stick around, get to the forums and find somebody, because somebody probably already made this post, and back the post up 100%. And on Bethesda forums, don't go to Reddit, don't go to these other places, go to Bethesda's own forums. And when they see 100,000 people saying the same thing, your world is dull and lifeless, and I don't really see any point in continuing to play if you don't address this problem. I guarantee you, if they see 150, 250,000 people say that in one, week, they're going to go, okay, guys, we heard you. We're going to get working on this. Well, yeah, it might take some time, but, that Bethesda listens for the most part. They really do. And if and here's the other thing.
Perhaps we should be addressing that before the game launch.
Well, they can't really address this stuff now without having, because again, the experience might be great. They are promising that there are quests, that there is this interaction that you get with the overseer of the vault, and that you are going to encounter a bunch of this story content and stuff like that. Okay. I don't like the way that they're saying it, because it's apparently still going to be in tapes, and it's going to be just radio communications, and maybe you'll meet some robots every once in a while that have some dialogue. I'm not interested in that, but if they knock it out of the park, then I will be interested in it. So this is, again, wait and see a little bit on this. However, also keep in mind that as soon as which they have promised to do, they have 100% promised to include mods and private servers. As soon as they do that, you will start to get a ton of new content added to the game, and somebody will figure out a way to make these like half ghouls that are in the game in this one to be not hostile. Somebody will figure out a way to make them non-hostile and add them in as quest givers and as like communities and stuff like that. And once you have those mods start to come in, then this game will start to feel, I think, there'll be ways that you make your game feel like a real Fallout game. So I really wish
Right.
that we got
Well-
New Vegas 2. I really, 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 really wish that we got New Vegas 2, 100%. But, yeah.
All right. Well, so lots of unanswered questions, but still, there's a lot to look forward to in this game, I feel, and yeah, I am in wait and see mode, but again, like we'll get more information as the betas happen and as more and more information comes out. We're definitely going to stay on top of this one, as massive Fallout fans, and with Fallout being really foundational to our YouTube channel, we're definitely going to be staying on top of this one. So make sure you sub and hit that notification bell to get all the updates there. Yeah, we love seeing all of you so active in the live chat. If you want to keep the conversation going after the live broadcast, we welcome you to join our Discord community. If you haven't already, you can find the link in the description below. It's a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S fans about all the things that we love to talk about, meet people to game with, stay up to date with everything we're doing here at the Triple S League. Click the link below to join, and be sure to say hello to us in the welcome channel. We love talking to you guys. We really do. It's had a lot of great conversations there. It's a lot of fun. So let's move on to this Cyberpunk 2077 news. And of course, the big news this week was somebody leaked the audio from one of the closed door presentations that CDPR gave at E3. We don't have that audio. We are not going to be sharing.
We're not going to share that.
We're not going to, we are not in favor of this happening.
If you want to ruin your experience when it comes to media that's coming out but that's not out yet, if you want to, I know people who have done this. I know people who watched a kind of over the shoulder or not over the shoulder, but in the lap camera with 3 or 4 people's heads in the way of a new movie that they were excited to see, and there was some early screening that somebody managed to smuggle out a copy of, and they watched this, and there was a bunch of things that needed to be improved in editing and whatnot, and the final it was not the final product, and they went and they saw the early product, and they were like, this is dumb, I'm so upset, this is a good movie, and it ruined their entire experience. Because why? Because that person is not capable of enjoying a product that's not finished. Now, me, I could go in, I can kind of see the end. I get a game that has like a half dozen missing textures and a bunch of like bugs and stuff like that. I get it. I used to do that. It's easy, it's fine, it's whatever, because I'm looking at where the game is going to be, not where the game is right now. When you sneak that stuff in, and there were some people who were saying, oh, the audio wasn't that great, there was some issue with this, there was some issue with that. It's like, yeah, you want to know why they didn't show it to the public? That's why they didn't show it to the public. It's because those things weren't ready. Like, somebody was saying, this audio sounded terrible. And I could tell from the audio that it was a placeholder audio. Placeholder audio is where they grab somebody from the dev team to come in and read a few lines really quickly so that they could put it into the game while it is on the list of things to be recorded at an official studio with official people, with official actors. It's placeholder audio. Apparently there's 1 or 2 placeholder audios in the thing, and people were like, oh, that makes me feel so bad. It's like, guys, this is why you don't listen to that stuff. If you can't handle the truth, that if you can't, I can't handle you can't handle the truth. If you can't handle that, don't even go there, because it's like, especially for people, I know people who once they see that floating pink box with the question mark text, this is a placeholder mesh, or sometimes it's a placeholder texture. When people see that, they get disgusted with the game. It's like, I can't handle this. It's like, then don't look at it. If you can't handle an unfinished product, don't do it. It's the difference between eating cake or cookie dough and eating a cookie. It's like, I hate cookie dough. I hate cookie dough so much that I can't eat cookies anymore. Well, that's your own fault, you dotard. It's like, why? But yeah.
I don't know if that was a very good analogy. I freaking love cookie dough. It's
well, I know
sometimes it's better than
because
cookies.
because we're designed that way. You know, if you like cookie dough, then yeah, when you get in and you get to see the peak, then yes, that works. But I'm warning all the people who can't handle that or who are going to make an assessment on the game based on the audio.
Well, yeah, you might bite into that cookie dough and get just a nice clump of dry flour, and that might not be so great. But yeah, absolutely, Megan sums it up really well. Don't look at leaks if you're expecting them to be the same quality as the finished product. Absolutely, that's true. But also, there's some ethics and trust that come into this. I mean, there's a general agreement of a closed door presentation that, you know, we are showing this to you to give some information out. We're asking you not to record it because, you know, so this is kind of the arrangement that you go in with. And so we are not in favor of you know, people doing this kind of thing, doing secret recordings.
Plus, it may not have been illegal. It may not have been illegal. However, they did ask you not to do it.
Yeah, and the Mad Queen made some good points when she did a video about this. This is going to harm the people who are going to suffer the fallout from this are now the people who go to Gamescom or
because we're expecting to see something, and they're gonna you know, tighten up their lips on it. They're going to reduce what they're gonna get. So if the guy wanted to record the audio so that he could refer back to it, I mean, they did give you out this pamphlet so that you could recall everything on the thing. But maybe he's not a visual learner. Maybe he's an audio learner, and you know, fine, whatever. I guess maybe if you want to be kind of scummy and record without them knowing it, and then just use that for, there's maybe some defensible position to that. But he put it out for clicks. Let's not fool around here. The person put it out to get mainstream attention, to pick up, you know, subs and subscribers by doing a scummy thing. It's like, don't do that. Like, just don't. Just don't do that. This game is already facing a lot of difficulties that let's hope are fixed before the game comes out. Chief among them that said the game is really bullet spongy. If that's the case, if it's really bullet spongy, that's actually a pretty easy fix. They just go in and they just drop health bars by like 50%. You know, it's not that hard to fix those kinds of issues. And again, like, I can't iterate enough. Like, when I'm talking about how, you know, the game has faults, I'm not saying that those faults are, like, last week we talked a little bit about the stealth. I said a lot of people were mentioning just passively that the stealth seemed to be not the greatest shape that it could be in. That was a passive comment, obviously one to which the studio knows and is working on. In fact, we know that they're working on it because they keep hiring people to help them fix this issue. So this is not an issue that is going to be, I don't think we're going to see this as an issue at release. It's an issue that they're clearly working on now, and there were still some people who were assuming that I was saying stealth is broken in the game and will be broken at launch. No. No, stealth is not broken. It's in an early, probably a good, you know, it's in a beta stage that needs some tweaking on it, and that they're obviously going to end up, you know, tweaking it, making it better. So, you know, don't freak out. It's, you know, it's getting there. Okay, it's getting there in that regard. Now, another problem, another area, like I said, with the bullet sponginess, or with the way that combat moves. My fear with the way that the combat moves right now is they've made the combat kind of like uninspiring, not strategic. It's just a hack and slash, you know, FPS super speed shooter, and I get bored of those games really, really quickly. If there's no strategy involved with the gameplay, then that gets boring really, really fast. And we'll go back to Fallout as an example. If you get a super gun and unlimited ammo because, you know, you can type in some console commands, the game is pretty boring. The game is at its funnest where you have 5 shots left in your rifle, but your rifle weighs 30 pounds. You can't, you know, if you dump your rifle, you could pick up the handgun to which you have 150 bullets for, but the handgun's only going to do a third of the damage that the rifle's going to do. So there's this like inventory management system that pulls into the game. It's like, do I hold on to the rifle, or do I swap out to the lesser gun that I have more ammo for? Okay, that sounds like possibly a good idea. All right, now what if I do like, what if I do this? Okay, what if I can get here and make some more ammo for this? Oh my goodness, there's a death claw. Okay, what am I going to do around that? It's strategic. Even when you're getting into a firefight, again, if you're not cheating, it's like I've got 10 stim packs left and 3 guys in power armor just showed up. What am I going to do? I want to take some of that power armor, so do I blow the power armor, or do I just chew through the armor, like, and then kill it, or do I try and do I want to capture one of those power armors by making a couple shots on the fusion core in the rear? Like, these are all decisions that played into great experiences inside the game. If the game is 40 hours of run into a building and just put as many bullets into the walls as possible, I feel that the game is going to miss that role play element. I think they're going to fall short of that experience, and you're going to basically get Dying Light. That's what you're going to get. And I'm really concerned that with this, that there's only 2 notable studios in Poland. There's Dying Light and there's CDPR. And they had 2 completely different experiences as far as games went. 2 totally different experiences, totally different experiences as far as gameplay went. And now one of them has just copied the other one.
Now, we know that the stealth is still be working on. Different mechanics are still being worked on.
Yeah.
Could that be the same case with the combat? Because we've.
I hope so. I hope so, because again, it's like, I haven't seen this game. I'm not making a final assertion. I'm merely putting out some generalized concerns from a marketing standpoint. I'm an analyst. This is my job. Mm-hmm. As far as what I'm seeing and as far as what I'm hearing, a concern that I have right now that hopefully will be alleviated when we see gameplay from Cyberpunk 2077. When we see the gameplay, this may relieve these fears, or these fears might get worse. And the way that they're aiming the game right now seems to me that they're moving towards a faster paced shooter and are leaving some of these RPG elements behind. But then again, I haven't seen how mods and like the internal game mods, like the modifications that you put into your character's brain and all that stuff. How is that going to affect the thing? We know that wall climbing is affected on whether or not you have an arm pulley spider grappling hook on your arm. Then not. If it's not there, then you can't do that. So yeah, there is definitely some things right here, but this is starting to feel way more like Borderlands than it is like Fallout. And Borderlands was not a game that I went back to again and again and again. Well, first of all, I could barely play the thing because it was such a vomit comet. On top of the fact that like, once you played through it, that was it. Like, the experience was, if you enjoyed a pointless, like if you enjoyed just a shooter, just running around, spraying out bullets, sometimes throwing guns that were exploded themselves, like, I mean, the insanity of whatever that combat system was. If that's all this game has to it, yes, Borderlands is widely received as a great game, and it is a great game. All of the Borderlands games are great. They have very little replay value. Very, very little replay value. And this is a problem that the studio themselves has admitted is a constant issue, because people put 60, 70 hours into the average player puts like 60 hours into Borderlands. The average player puts like 400 hours into Skyrim. It's like, so here's the difference, guys. Do you want your game to be, and this goes for The Witcher too a little bit. There's not as much replay value there, but it has more replay value than Borderlands does. So that's the question. Are you okay with this becoming more like Borderlands, where people are going to play through it once and then be done with it? Or are you wanting people to play through it again differently, that kind of thing. And by making the game all about fast first person shooting, do you do that as far as the combat goes? I don't know how the story goes. I don't know how the back and forth with the people goes. The way that they showed it in the trailer was or in the gameplay, I hear, and after having gone through and read and seen what everybody else is talking about, it seems like it's a very interesting world where NPCs are busy, they have their own lives, they don't always answer their calls. But is it an on the rails kind of thing, or is it truly open world? Because right now I'm feeling that it's a little bit more on the railsy, which again, not a bad thing. Borderlands was like that. A whole bunch of other games were like that, where it's kind of you're on this railed experience. Mass Effect was like that. You again, a Mass Effect, very much, especially the first one, very much on the rails. It was not open world. You couldn't go back and walk around and get into new fights and new you couldn't come back to the same crater 3 times and find 3 different things. They tried to do that in Andromeda, and it kind of fell on its face a little bit, but different issues for that. What you had in the first Mass Effect 1 and 2 is you didn't always have the ability to experience new things again and again and again. And it's still one of the best games out there. Mass Effect 1 and 2, especially 2. Great game. 100%. Borderlands, still really good game. However, if that's all they have to offer, you're not going to get as much replay, and you're not going to have this feeling that you are that you're playing the pen and paper game. I don't know if that's going to translate. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying I don't know currently under the information that we have available to us, on whether or not that's going to be the type of game that we're going to get. So this is kind of concerning. However, again, and I cannot stress this enough, we have to wait to see the gameplay. We have to wait to see the gameplay. Once we get the experience of having a gameplay video where we see 5, 10, even, cross our fingers, let's hope for 30 minutes of gameplay, then we can see how, the fights go. We can see how the motion goes. We'll be able to get these answers as to whether or not it is a vomit comment or not, because that's a huge thing. That has to be answered, because for those of us who have serious motion sickness, it's not just the motion sickness. Yeah, I can take a gravel for that and get that and kind of power through something for 4 or 5 hours, easy peasy. It's the associated migraines that come with some of this stuff. If that's a big issue, that's one issue. If the combat seems incredibly repetitive and there's really not very much else to do, and worse yet is if the companion system is overpowered. The companion system has been overpowered in a lot of games in the past, where there's a point where it's like you just let your companion go in and he'll clear the entire room. Used to do that for everybody who loves that good old game, Knights of the Old Republic. The companion system was so bad in that game, was so overpowered, not because the companions were overpowered, essentially, but they could infinitely res. And so they could take on these boss fights, and all you had to do was just sit at the far end of the encounter zone where the boss wouldn't come after you, but your NPCs, your companions would die, get up, shoot, get killed, fall down, get up, shoot, die, fall down, get up, shoot. That kind of a combat system. If that's the kind of a combat system that you have for the companions in this game, then we can see a substantial problem with that moving forward as well. So
I doubt that. How often has that happened since Knights of the Old Republic?
It is pretty common. Like, I mean, if you power up some of your Fallout companions, they can, like, you just go in and they just crush everything.
But once they're down until combat ends.
Yeah. So, but there's, these are all minor things that gameplay will answer the vast majority of these questions, and this is where we really need to see it. And I hope that they can come out with a really good RPG game that is replayable, because as everyone mentions, how much Deus Ex was great. Deus Ex was the greatest game ever as far as the Cyberpunk universe goes. Okay, it was a good game. It was not replayable. Okay, it was not replayable. You played through it once, you were done. That was it. That was the experience. Are they trying to emulate Deus Ex to the point where you don't have a game that you can replay? Are we going to experience the thing that you get into the world? This is why I like Skyrim so much. And even Fallout. Fallout 4 needed some work. It wasn't the greatest open world experience I've ever had. But and part of that had to do with the map structure. In Skyrim, once I finished the main story, or not the main story, once I finished the intro, and later on I have a mod that allows me to play a new life, which is really cool, because then you're not even given the quest to like go talk to the king about this dragon that you just saw. You don't actually see the dragon. You're put in a different place. If you want to play a bartender, you can do that. And or if, more standard adventuring thing, start a new game, start as a new person in another part of the map, and go out, start a new quest line, and spend the vast majority of the game around. My favorite place to spend in my replays, I favor going out to either Riften or I can't believe I can't remember the name of the other city. The other city with that's built into the mountain and the ruins of the elves, or the dwarf. Why can't I remember the name of this city? Anyways, start there, play there. We'll play 40 hours in that place without even really going to any of the other cities, because there's so much to do and there's so much replayability. Are we going to experience that when we boot up the game for a second time, that we're given the same quests, we're pointed in the same direction, and we're given the same goals to then progress to area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the game, we hit the end of the game, quote unquote, the end of the game. Is that what's going to happen? Not Winterhold, no. Is that what's going to happen? And that's my fear, is that with them trying to focus on this FPS system and then trying to, they have a great roleplay system in it, but are we just on a rail experience that's disguised as an open world game? That's what the gameplay can answer as soon as we can kind of get our fingers on that. Now, we've heard a lot of good things, but again, game's gone. We're going to see hopefully something from there, hopefully something new. Hopefully this game is not going to take another 3 to 4 years. Some people are suggesting that this is going to take another 3 to 4 years. If this game is going to take another 3 or 4 years, this game's been in development this is going to be over 10 years. The last game that I know of that had over a 10-year cycle of development turned out to be one of the worst games ever that I have ever played. So I don't want that to happen. I really don't want that to happen. It's not good. It's not a good thing. I'm looking forward to putting in 400 or 500, 1,000 hours into this game. I want to be able to do that because we don't have enough really good open world RPGs. We really don't have a good number of them. Couldn't play what's that game that indie game that everybody was loving so much, the first person one with the swords and stuff? Yeah, Duke Nukem Forever.
First person with the swords.
Yeah, you played it. You did a whole bunch of stuff on it. The indie game.
Dishonored?
No,
Dishonored's not an indie game.
Dishonored is not an indie game.
That's why I was with the swords. I'm sorry, I don't know.
With the wonky character.
Sorry, I have no idea. I'm drawing a blank.
You've literally done like half a dozen videos on it. But at any rate, that game came out. I couldn't handle the first person on it. It was not the greatest. It was a little bit on the rails, but it's like, it's a great game. Really appreciated that it did so well. Yeah, but as far as like need to see this gameplay to be able to figure out what is going to go on in this game, looking forward to it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Right on, and hopefully we'll get something from Gamescom. Are you anticipating we're going to see gameplay at Gamescom? Maybe more public?
I think there's a strong. I really think there's a really strong possibility for this. They are definitely like lining things up. Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't know how you can.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
with the swords, man. Seriously.
With the with the swords. That's that could describe any one of 1,000 games, including Skyrim. So just saying.
But at any rate, the
swords.
I suspect that they're going to keep up the pressure. If we start to see their campaign kind of kick up here in the next couple of months, that's great. Their Twitter account has been CD Projekt Red's Twitter account for Cyberpunk 2077 has been legitimately going off like crazy, and they have been wrestling with the absolute pinnacle, the absolute demigod of Twitter, the Wendy's account. Oh my goodness, have you guys seen this?
I did not see that.
Back and forth with the Wendy's account. Wendy's and CDPR started like going at it back and forth in this friendly, very funny, very hilarious way, going back and forth. It absolutely genius, guys.
I'm gonna have to go look that up now.
Love what they're doing.
Hilarious.
Wendy's is like, yeah, we're working on our own tabletop game right now. And then CDPR responded, "Is it first person or third person?" It's like, y'all know what's going on. This is really funny.
But that goes to show that they're aware of what the community is saying about this stuff.
Yes.
They're not just sitting in their offices, hunched over with their fingers in their ears. They've got their finger on the pulse of the community, and so they are aware of the concerns about. We talked extensively about that last week.
I am hearing more and more that they're aware of the issues that people are having with the first person thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they realize this, and I want to say this about this. I'm not judging this game based off of that. We're still going to cover this game. We're still looking forward to this game. I am looking forward to this game immensely. Whether or not I'll be able to play through it without dousing tons and tons of gravel, and probably not being able to play it until I'm off of work for an extended period of time, which will suck. I will not be able to do a lot of video content if that's the case. I'm still looking forward to the game. I am very annoyed that they chose first person, and my main reason with this is that what they're saying why they went first person. I don't make a habit of commenting on, Borderlands for not being first person. Borderlands is first person game. They said that, they stuck with it. It's the design thing. It's what they were going for. It's the feeling that they were going for. I get it, totally fine. Never critique them for that. Kind of said, wish you guys could make a third person game. But the first thing I did is I hopped on the team that started working on the third person modification for the game, which is out there, which exists right now, and which has made the game a whole lot more enjoyable for myself. Even though the aiming was really, really difficult. It made it more of a challenge. There we go. That's good. I like that. I like that kind of stuff. As far as this, what I'm mostly annoyed with this whole thing is that I'm keep getting the same kind of stuff that honestly is kind of annoying me. Is the fact that they're saying, hey, we wanted to immerse you into the game, and this is the only way we could immerse you into the game. Do not tell me how to immerse myself into anything. It's like that. Sorry, I'm not, and I'm not hammering them on this. I'm not taking a crap on their sandwich. What I'm saying is, why are they telling me how I immerse myself in a game? Appreciation of art is always beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Whether that's a first person eye or a third person eye. Get it? Oh, I have been sitting on that joke for weeks. I hope you all laugh. If it's terrible, let me know in the comments. But it's in the eye of the beholder. Stop telling me
it's in the floating, orbiting eye of the beholder. There you go.
Stop telling me how I need to be immersed into the game. There was one movie that tried a first-person perspective. Yeah. And it did not do well at all.
Well, I've gotten immersed in two-dimensional pixel art games before.
Yeah.
Like Celeste was arguably an incredibly immersive game, despite
Yeah.
its lack of realism, despite its pixel
That's
graphics.
a 2D side-scrolling
It's a
game.
platformer, for heaven's sake, like a jump and dash platformer kind of a game, and man, I got immersed in that heavily. Immersion's not about feeling like you're looking through the character's eyes necessarily. It's about identifying with that character and getting immersed in their story. It's like reading a good book. You get immersed in the story. You're not seeing literally through the character's eyes. You're just I mean, books can be written from first-person perspective or third-person perspective. Nobody argues about immersion on that front, so...
Yeah, and so the immersion, like, I can tell you, Adam Smith in the comments, 100%, right here. I am replaying the Fallout 2 experience just because I had a hankering. This is really funny. I told my brother this. So I bought a really expensive, really amazing, top-of-the-line graphics card. Put it in my machine. What was the first game I spent an hour playing? Fallout 2. I felt so stupid afterwards. Like, here I'm playing with this workhorse of a beast of a machine, and I'm playing Fallout 2. But do you know why I'm playing Fallout 2? Is because I get a whole hell of a lot more immersed in Fallout 2 than I do in a lot of other games. I really do get more immersed. The game that offers me the most immersion, thank you MXR, is Skyrim. Skyrim 100% gives me the most immersion. However, I have that thing modded up with... I'm too short of the maximum mod volume that's allowed to let the game continue to operate. So that's,
Right.
that's that. However, just in general, again, like, you're telling me, oh, we have to immerse you this way. That's against what video games are supposed to be about. Like, that's not...
So the immersion argument falls flat. What about the argument about...
Well, to me at least. But
Well, I
again,
agree, even though...
I can't iterate this enough. That is only to me. There are plenty of people out there. In fact, I would argue the majority, or at least 50% of the gaming public, prefers to be immersed in games via first person. There was that horror game that was out a little while ago that was entirely first person. It was a really good one too. It was another small indie title. As far as Cyberpunk goes, more than, around 50% of the people are totally stoked to be immersified in a 50% in the first person view. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I want those people to be able to experience the immersion the way that they want to experience the immersion. I'm not downplaying that at all. 100% not downplaying it. However, for me personally, it's like I can't get immersed in first person. I really can't get immersed in first person. The first time I played a real first person game was, I think it was... There was a game a long time ago, and I saw it at the gaming store, the computer store, and it was like, I walked up and I started to play it for a few seconds. I was like, this is amazing. You move around the world. This was like, first generation true, like, 3D environment. I was like, this game is amazing. It was doing all this cool stuff. And then I looked down at my feet and I saw a floating shadow. And I was like, oh, I'm out. I'm done. It's like, I never played that game again. Because, immersion. Look, you're playing first person. Look down at my feet. Floating shadow. Yeah, nope. Immersion's gone. Sorry, guys. Can't do it. Again, that's my experience. That is not... Ash, your experience is totally different. You enjoy first person games. More so than I think you do third person games. So we can both have this conversation. Mm-hmm. And we can both respectfully disagree with each other. The thing that confuses me is that when you have the availability to offer both options, because it doesn't always work in both options. Sometimes a game just doesn't work with first person. Sometimes a game just doesn't work with third person. So you put it into the other ones and you let the gaming community play the game in that way. That's totally fine. It's totally great. I love it. It's fine. Imagine if Trials was first person only. Like, just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It would be a nightmare. It's like spinning up and down, like trying to land on a single ped, which speaks to how awesome real stunt bikers are. Like, that's amazing, guys, 100%. But still, it's like, if you can add the two options add the two options. You just open it up for more people to experience the game that you're giving us an experience to experience, but give us the option to choose. You know, in a movie theater, some people sit in the front section of the movie theater. Some people sit at the farthest back of the movie theater that they can get. I always sit dead center. As much as I can get dead center, I will sit dead center. Why? Because it gives me the most viewing angle. Ash, you're one of those people that always sits in the farthest back as you can, right?
Generally.
Yeah. So, and we've had fights when we go to see movies every once in a while. Especially with the other friends. I'm always like, let's go center, and everybody else is like, let's go to the very top, and then some idiot out there says, oh, I like the very front. But you know, this is
that why you try to kill us with the popcorn seasoning?
Yeah, this is why I try to kill you with popcorn seasoning.
Yeah.
This is enjoyment of art. It should be up to the person enjoying the art, because it's the person enjoying the art has the way of enjoying the art. And this is all.
On that note, sorry to cut in, but what about
no?
The
we're probably
argument...
harping on this too long. Let us know if you think we're harping on this too
yeah,
much.
exactly. What about the argument
100%.
that the first person, not so much an immersion choice, but an artistic choice? What about that side of the argument?
That's a decent one, but you do have to realize that you are cutting certain people out. Mm-hmm. If you offer an experience to see a work of art in a dark hallway that's kind of a little on the spooky side, which there are, they're called scare houses. Some people do not enjoy that and will not participate, and that's fine. But you have to realize that, and you don't have a leg to stand on when you are telling people that you can only enjoy art one way, and when people say, sorry, we don't enjoy that kind of art that one way, the minute that you start making excuses saying, hey, well, you should enjoy this art this one way that we tell you to enjoy, as soon as you do that, you've lost the argument. Not only have you lost the argument, you've also alienated the fans of that. Mm-hmm. Your fans that are experiencing that. So please, and I'm not saying that they have done this. I'm saying that they're, I'm just answering the question as to why. CDPR, as far as I can tell, hasn't been insisting that we have to enjoy this from an artistic point of view. What I've been hearing is that they've been going, oh, we didn't realize that so many of our fans that are big fans of our products were coming to us because we gave them this option, and now we've reversed that. We've gone the other direction, and now they're upset. We didn't realize that this was as big of a deal as we thought it would be. We thought people would be, surprised, and then we thought that was kind of going to be it. We didn't realize that there's actually a legitimately large reason why there's a legitimate reason why a significant portion, as much as 25%, as little as 5%, take your pick, either one of those. The numbers are solid. As to why the gaming public does not, period, do that, period. Full stop. Now, as much as 50% of the gaming population do not play first-person games, just as like there's a good 30-40% of people that do not play third-person games exclusively. So this is where it kind of, this is where I think CDPR has realized this, and they're going, okay, well, we need to make sure that we kind of that we try to be, again, this is not an argument of inclusivity. This is a marketing standpoint. You need to make money on your video games, or you don't make new video games. Period. That's the way marketing works. Nobody's going to show up and give you $1 million for making a product that you failed at. You have to make video games. So they're sitting back going, we didn't realize that this was such a big deal, that it could significantly impact the bottom line. Now we have to decide whether the artistic choice or the style choice that we've chosen is going to, how much of a loss we're going to take. And we talked about that last week. So I'm not going to rehash that. But I think they're starting to go, okay, well, we need to look at this a little bit closer. And at the very least, what we can do is we can up the field of view. We can try and include some options in the graphical settings to make this a little bit smoother. Perhaps we can add a a spammable button that slows down time, because that helps a lot. If I'm playing a really fast FPS, it makes me sick really fast. If I'm playing a really slow FPS where the time slowdown is like I can slow down time like constantly, and this is what I do in Skyrim. I either chug or I spam the time slowdown abilities, and that's when I do go into first person and I do like crazy number of bow shots. And again, if they offered us that, that is a single fix that might fix the vast majority of these problems. So I think they're looking at ways that they can alleviate that, or the ways that they can fix that, because I think they're starting to realize that ignoring your community there's a difference between sticking to your guns and ignoring your community for no reason. So we'll kind of see where that goes. It's still a touchy issue, and I encourage people again, 100%. I can't say this enough. We are not dumping on them for this choice. We're not saying that that we're going to boycott this. We're saying that this really affects how some people will play this game. And for some people, that means waiting until a mod comes out. For some people, this means that, they're going to have to play through it much more slowly with help of Gravel. For some people, it means that they're just not interested in it because it doesn't offer both, and they're exclusively, it's not the experience that they're after. And again, that's fine. It's up to people. People can make their choices, right? We're supposed to have, somebody else said in one of the comments the other day, it's all about the free market and free choice. So if it's free market and free choice, then, people are free to not buy something as much as they are, free to buy something. So, let that go where it goes, and as far as that goes. Now, as far as Gamescom content, I think we're definitely going to see something. It's right in their neck of the woods. It's bigger than E3 as far as like the amount of people that get to see content and that get to experience it. E3 is way more media oriented. Gamescom is orientated towards the player, the gamer, and the fan. So this is where we're going to see, I think, maybe a bit of a difference. So we will definitely get more feedback there, and I definitely think that they're going to show, or at least they're going to show up and talk about something. After Gamescom, we have their own Promised Land convention. That shows up in the late fall, so we will definitely get something there. Most likely what we'll get there is we will get a panel where they discuss things. And so we will see a discussion for sure, 100%. We're going to see a lot more of discussion around the lore, I think. I think we're going to get that too. We're going to get, I suspect strongly that our next, I think our next video and or piece of information that's going to come out is going to go back to that first trailer aesthetic feel, that dark and gritty and rainy, like rainy night, that kind of thing. We had like one or two snippets of that inside the most recent trailer, but this was another point of contention. A lot of people were saying, look, I wanted to play a Cyberpunk game where it's like dark and gritty and rainy, and it's not dark. This thing that you just showed us looked like Sunset Boulevard. Like it's bright and sunny. And they were saying, yeah, they wanted to contrast it because they felt that the first trailer was too much set on that, and they wanted to show that again they were going to have some diversity of environments and diversity of experiences. It wasn't going to be this 24/7 dark, rain-filled sky, thing. They talk about how they have acid rain in the game, and that's of course going to affect a lot of things in the experience of running around playing the video game. But at the same moment, it's like they didn't show. Why didn't they show that? Well, it could have been because of the limitation on the tech or the time, or that they just wanted to show that they weren't about the dark, gritty rain 24/7. And I think that's something that we'll see in the next one, because again, that was a point of contention that a lot of people have been raising. Have been going through comments like crazy on all these other channels, and that's a pretty substantial one. We get about 4 or 5% of that in the comments. Is like, why is it so dark? Like, why is it so bright? I wanted a dark game. Like, why is this so like? I wanted a game that played like, kind of the dark, gritty Mass Effect kind of thing, and not the, hey, Sunset Boulevard, look at the sun, we're getting sunshine and it's great, and it's like that wasn't the feel that they were expecting. And so there was a lot of negativity on that too. So,
but I think there will be a lot of that in the game. Like it's not
yeah,
it's
yeah, I
it's
think
not
so too.
perpetual
Again,
sunshine and butterflies either.
yeah, it was there, 100%. It was there, but we don't necessarily have that in
Right.
here. So,
All
yeah.
right. Well, we are running pretty short on time. So, any final things from chat that you wanted to address?
Lawrence brings up in the chat brings up a great point. Options are good, but he doesn't want it to be a detriment to the product. This is 100%. I don't agree with people who feel that they have to bring an inclusiveness to the point where it's there's too much and it hurts the final product. This is a point that again I've been pushing again and again. I don't want them to sacrifice the game, but if they can add it, please add it. Like it's like the this whole Battlefield thing with this whole like honestly, if the guy had come out when this whole thing started and people were all pissed off, if he just came out and said it's a game, we're offering you more character customization, have at it, that would have been good enough for me. But now that like people are saying this and they're saying this and then they're lying about stats and history and and it's just like, dude, just say it's for added customization. That's all. I would have been happy with that. But now it's like you made a big mess and you made a lot of people angry and you've insulted a bunch of other people by not being necessarily truthful. And then you've insulted another group of people for being, being overly. It's like, dude, all we want is like, if you can add customization, add customization. That's all we're asking for. Like, and instead when they finally did add customization, they added it for a reason, not for customization. And that's like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb, guys. Yeah, great comments. Yeah, hit us up with as many. I'm excited to see V in the game. I think this is the new Commander Shepard that we've been waiting for. This is the Commander Shepard that this is the Commander Shepard we deserve. This is the Commander Shepard that we need. That's what I'm really looking forward to, this character. And again, I am going to play this game. May take a while, but I'm going to play it. Ash, you're definitely going to play this game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Final question here from the Lone Tremere. Do you guys have any confirmation on the subclasses - perk system from the optional 6 classes that aren't mainly featured?
What's great is we had a leak that very few people have given us credit for a year ago about the class system that has been confirmed during interviews at E3. And so very few people remember that we broke this story a long time ago. So here we go on the subclass system. The class system is not it's not divided into multiple classes. In this game, because they don't want to force you to have to replay it every time you want to change a class or that kind of thing. They're giving you this option. When you build your character, you're going to have a bunch of these options that are going to set up your past. And in this, you're going to see some of these more like finer options, like were you a media person, or were you a rocker boy in your youth? And then as you progress through the game, you get these different options. And this is where the roleplay system is looking like it's going to be great. Then you're going to be able to address certain ways of coming about. Are you more of a fixer, or are you more of a solo? Or are you more of a are you going to shoot your way out of every situation, or are you going to talk your way out of every situation like you would if you were a rocker boy? I really, really hope that we can do a in Fallout 4, you can complete that game without firing a shot. Sorry, not Fallout 4. In Fallout New Vegas, you can finish that game without firing a shot. Not Fallout 4. You have to kill people in Fallout 4. In Fallout New Vegas, you can complete the whole game without killing a single person, without firing a shot, just either running away or talking your way out of pretty much every single situation. This is amazing. And this is I hope this is what I would hope we would see in Cyberpunk. I don't think we're going to get that option, but I think we're going to have this experience. They should in the press event that they showed. There were multiple ways you could deal with this situation. You could walk in and out of this one this one experience, capturing this little robot guy, without shooting a single person, just by making a deal, or you could kill everybody. So this is great. Really love this. Looking forward to this. I hope that this covers the entirety of the game. I really doubt it. I really doubt it. FPSs are not well known for their favor of giving you a violentless game. I think they're like, what, you didn't want to kill 10,000 people? Sorry, you have to kill 10,000 people at the very least. You can kill up to as many as 1 million people if you want, but yeah, in this game we're going to force you to kill at least 10,000 people. It's like,
that's an FPS, but this is a first-person RPG. We need to make that clarification.
Yeah.
This is not.
So the subclass of the perk system is going to be, from what we've heard and for what has been largely confirmed, you're going to have the ability to pick a bunch of modifications. There's some background stuff. There's some story content that is going to affect how your character turns out in the game. So this is that class system. We don't have a layout of it yet, but expect to be able to at least have the background of being the media person, or being the rocker boy, or having these other backgrounds, a medic or a fixer. I can't remember the names of all the classes, but expect to have those options of at least having a bit of a background in that, as well as being able to at least have that influence the game a little bit. So I think this is an area that I'm really excited about. We covered this over a year ago, I think it was, where we broke this story. It's going to be great as far as the class arc building system. I am always up for more. If you give me 1,000 perks to pick 100 from, I'm the kind of person who I love that. But I'm also crazy, so that's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. But they seem to have gone to out of their way to provide you with the availability to really make the character your own, which in games like this, in RPGs, the more they do that, the better. And the less they do that, the less the game feels like an actual RPG, and then the more it feels like just a generic shooter. So I think that they're really kind of doubling down on this. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, and oh god, Notional, if this game ends with a choice between 3 colors, I am going to riot. I hope you're there with me.
I have my doubts that it'll be that'll
Red,
be it.
green, or blue? Which ending would you like? Red, green, or blue? Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for supporting this show, for the great conversation in the chat. Please, if you appreciate this weekly content, please take a moment and hit that like button. Show those YouTube bots that this is content that you appreciate and want to support. I want to especially thank our Patreon supporters, Old Man Manson, and our 2 anonymous supporters. Thank you so much for keeping this show going and enabling us to do all kinds of other things as well. We have something very special coming out on Tuesday, the first episode of our new Machinima series. This is our Apocalypse. If you haven't seen the trailer for that, it's on the channel. And we debuted that trailer during E3. And
let us know if this is content that you want to see in the future. It's really
absolutely
important for us to get that range. Like, hit those likes, send it to your friends if you think they're gonna like it. Send it out. This kind of content, we are told, this kind of content does not make money on YouTube anymore. It does not fuel creative algorithms in the system. That it's a dead medium. We're told this again and again and again and again. And I think that people would enjoy this kind of stuff. So let us know. Support us in this as we kind of jump into this again. And if you want something to play, we will have an announcement next week, or the week after, probably next week, about the mod that we have coming out for Fallout 4. So,
Absolutely. So yes, also don't forget to sub and hit that notification bell to get all of the notifications of new content. If you're listening after the fact on SoundCloud, we thank you for your follows and likes. On iTunes, thanks for subscribing and reviewing the show. And hey, feel free to join us next Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, that's 11 a.m. Eastern Time, for the live show where you can interact with us and other listeners and be a part of the discussion. The Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Asheninity. On behalf of Cybsidian, thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week.